There's some interesting things going on in the stock market. It looks like a big move is coming one way or the other. We do have some other things to look at, though. This is Mike, the tactical stock scalper. All right, all right. First, we're going to look at IWM, which is known as the canary in the coal mine of the ETFs. What that means is sometimes it'll let out a signal well before the main markets do, like the Dow or S&P or NASDAQ. What we have here is IWM has been down the last 2 days. So if the canary in the coal mine theory holds up, we will be looking for a drop in the stock market sooner rather than later. Let's look at IWM again on the weekly chart. IWM did come down to 170, and it's almost hit my buy target. I have a limit order for IWMY, and it didn't quite hit it today, so I'll be looking for it the next day or two. But IWM is going down as the markets are going up. Let's look at SPY. So we look at SPY on the daily here, and we see we haven't quite got to that 440 level yet to make a higher high on SPY, because we need to break these levels here to show that we're going to make a higher high. We got sold off right there at that level. Could we be forming a double top? Who knows? It is coiling, so a big move is definitely coming. If we get 440, we could rip above it very easily. We still have a gap to fill over here. So SPY may be trying to tick up a little bit more to fill that gap from way back then. We will have to see. I am still under the impression that we're going to get a pullback sooner rather than later. I did make a tactical decision today with JEPY. I bought JEPY yesterday, and I don't know why I bought it, because I knew it was a starter position, no big deal. However, I'm expecting a pullback, so in my mind I'm thinking, why on earth did I buy this when I'm expecting a pullback? So I went ahead and sold JEPY today for a great profit of 40 cents. So that's okay. That wasn't the point. I would even sold for a minor loss because I'm expecting a pullback. So I pulled that, put the money back in the account, and just waiting on a pullback. Now, the tactical decision I made, I thought was a good one, because if we get a pullback, I'll be able to buy JEPY as my starter position way lower. If we start ripping up from here, and then it comes back down to test this level, I can always buy it again, and I would be in no worse shape, right? Because the dividends already paid out this month a couple days ago, so I am good there. So I'm going to wait on JEPY and wait for the market to tell me what it's doing. Let's look at SPY on a weekly. SPY continues to push up from the massive candle last week. It is broken above all moving averages, and you see here currently we're in a really bullish pattern for SPY. It's above all the moving averages. What will happen here? Will it get to 440 and sell off and not make a higher high, or will it push through here and just get another leg up? We'll have to see what SPY does. Let's go over the Qs and talk about QQQY. Let's go to the daily time frame to get a little better look at this. Qs continue to push up along with the rest of the market. Qs going a little bit higher than everybody else today. Waiting on 375 level, as I've talked about before. It has to get above and hold 375 to make a higher high. And then we can talk about maybe being on a bull and maybe going to all-time highs later on in the year. We'll just have to see how this develops. But as you can see, the market's gone up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row on the Qs. That's a rarity. We're looking for a pullback just because the odds favor it, and we're coming up against major resistance at 375. Bigger resistance will be at the 380 mark. So 375 is basically minor resistance with a much bigger resistance at 380. Let's go look at the VIX and see what it can tell us today. And I found this fascinating again. So as you see here, VIX is essentially holding its level around the $15 price tag. We did drop below it today, which shows that market sentiment is still bullish. As we see, all the moving averages now are starting to curl down on the VIX. However, the VIX didn't really flush. So we'll have to see here. We're just coiling. And what I mean by that is, let's look at SPY again one more time and why I think a big move is coming. We're just chopping in this area. We haven't really necessarily had a dynamic move out or up of this area. I mean, if we just pull back a little bit tomorrow to these moving averages, that's still not a big enough move. We're looking for something dynamic now as it continues to build and coil in this area. You know, I can't predict the future. I don't know if it's going to rip up or rip down, but I am prepared. Either way, if it rips up, that's fantastic. The shares of my stocks will go up. That's great. And I'll wait for the next dip to buy in on other entities. Not a big deal at all. We're just going to let the market dictate what we are doing. We're still, until we break out of this and get above and close above 440, we're just still making lower highs and lower lows. So we need price action to tell us what's going to happen. Let's look at my QQQY and my Tesla today. So we talked about yesterday, it looked like the QQQY or the Qs were wanting to come up and fill this gap. We indeed did fill this gap right there. As you see there, we have the big gap down there. So we are on our way. Well, we haven't filled the gap yet completely. I misspoke there. We're waiting to go a little bit higher to fill this gap on QQQY. It's coming, but it may again be delayed if we get a pullback. Let's look at Tesla and my Tesla position. We see Tesla, just like the markets, is just in this holding pattern. It's just chopping and coiling, waiting to make a dynamic move. As you see here, the price action has been really minimal on Tesla. We're just going up and down in this little area right here, waiting for the market or Tesla to make a decision. Right? There's nothing to see here but coiling and a lot of... excuse me about that. Just a lot of coiling and just price churning in this area. We will just have to see what the market decides it wants to do, but it definitely looking like a dynamic move one way or the other is ahead of us. Let's look at my Tesla position. Let me type this in here. Again, Tesla, much like Tesla, just coiling in this area. However, we have gotten above the 20-period moving average for a couple days in a row, but these charts on these ETFs are kind of irrelevant, although they do follow the underlying, like this case, Tesla, very well. We're going to have a div drop here of about 58 cents because the dividend on Tesla is 58 cents, and I think that is just absolutely fantastic, and I'm super excited about that. So my position currently is, as you see there, $13.73 is my current price. I have not really averaged down here in a bit. I mean, I did average down at $11.50 because there was a spot of support on the Tesla chart. I am just waiting to see here. There's no reason for me to buy Tesla for me personally right now. I'm just waiting for the div drop, and then maybe if the rest of the market drops and Tesla drops with it, I could get it back around 11 or maybe even under $11 later this week or next week. We'll just have to see what the market decides. Hope you enjoyed the content. This is Mike, Tactical Stock Scalper, out.